We are in a depression right now, but the only reason it's not called that is because the wealthy people are wealthier than they've ever been. It's not a depression for the rich people are doing great. During the Great Depression, the average cost of a home was about $4,900, which today is equivalent to about $90,000. It was around 3 times the average person's wages. Today, in 2026, the average cost of a home is around $410K, which is about 8 times the average person's wages. This is not accidental, this is not just inflation, this is deliberate overpricing by wealthy people so that they could get extra profit into their pocket. And you know what? That's working really well for them, because back in 1985, I think there were only about 9 billionaires in the US, and now there are over 1,000. And we're even on track to have our first trillionaire. Can you imagine such an unfathomable amount of wealth? The thing is, you can't. Just how unimaginable is that? Let's put it this way. If you counted one number per second, it would take you about 31 years to count to a billion if you were counting nonstop. To count to a trillion, it would take you 31,000 years. Meanwhile, the average American makes $66K a year. 1 in 4 Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and it costs about $159K a year to live comfortably. Believe me, we are in a depression, but it's not called that because we don't control the narrative. We are in a
Hey yo,
depression
I
right
don't know
now, but
about you
the only
guys,
reason
but
it's not
this
called that
is
is because the
crazy,
wealthy
man.
people are
This is
wealthier than they've ever
absolutely
been.
crazy.
It's not a
When you
depression for the
think
rich
about it,
people. The
we
rich
are
people are
about to
doing great.
have
During the Great
the
Depression, the
first
average cost of
world
a home was about
trillions,
$4,900, which
trillionaire.
today is equivalent to
And
about
you know what? Honestly,
$90,000.
I
It was
think
around 3
once
times the
AI
average
is
person's
able to
wages.
do everything,
Today, in
whether it's
2026,
manual or
the
whether it's
average
like
cost of a
computer
home is around
wise, we're gonna
410K,
see
which
not
is
one
about 8
trillionaire, but
times the average
couple of
person's
them.
wages.
I'm
This
not
is
gonna
not
lie,
accidental.
couple of
This is
them.
not just inflation. This is
This is
deliberate
nuts, guys.
overpricing
And to
by
think
wealthy
about it, like
people so
average
that they
people
could get
need
extra
to have
profit
more than one
into their
job
pocket. And
just
you
to
know what?
make it,
That's
just
working
to be
really
able to
well for
pay
them,
rent,
because back in
live,
1985, I
pay
think there were
car
only about
insurance
9
here and there, here and
billionaires in
there,
the
and
US,
just to be
and
able
now
just
there
to
are
live.
over
They need
1,000.
more
And we're
than one
even on
job
track to have
nowadays.
our first
More than one
trillionaire. Can
jobs.
you imagine such an
I don't know
unfathomable
about you
amount of
guys,
wealth?
but this
The
is
thing is,
nuts.
you can't.
To think
Just
about
how
it, like
unimaginable is
people
that?
have,
Let's put
of
it this way.
course,
If you
those
counted one number per
$1 trillion
second, it would
that
take you
Elon's
about
gonna have is
31
not gonna be in
years
the
to
bank.
count to a
It's gonna be
billion if you
like
were
what
counting
his company is
nonstop. To
worth.
count to a
But at the same
trillion,
time,
it
that
would
doesn't
take
mean
you
he cannot just snap of
31,000
fingers and then get like
years. Meanwhile, the average
5 or
American
10
makes
billion dollars,
66K a
which is
year. 1 in
absolutely
4
nuts.
Americans are
They,
living paycheck to
whenever you say,
paycheck,
"Oh,
and it
you
costs
have
about
all that money, why
159K a
don't you
year
pay
to
more
live
tax?" They're gonna be
comfortably.
like, "Oh,
Believe me,
I
we
don't
are
have
in a
that money.
depression, but
It's
it's
just
not
what my
called that
company is
because we
worth."
don't control
But
the
at the same
narrative.
time, whenever they want money, they go ahead to the bank and then say, "Oh, can you lend me money against what?" But I have this share of Amazon or of Tesla, of Apple. I have this share, so I'm just gonna get the loan against these shares. Get me the loan. And then they get like 5, 10, 20, 50, or 100 billion. This is how they do, man. This is how they do. When you ask them, they're going to be like, yo, I don't have the money. But when they need the money, they go see the bank and then, can you lend me money against my share?
How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living?
Personally, I'm not. I had to move out of San Diego. I'm from Southern California, but it's too expensive. Even with full-time work, I had 2 full-time jobs, working on the weekends and at night and in the morning. I still couldn't save up enough money for a deposit for a studio apartment or anything, frankly. So I had to make a change. Right there is the border wall with Mexico and the United States. One side is San Diego, one side is Tijuana. Now I live on the Tijuana side. While the difference is only 2 blocks, I have a substantially cheaper cost of living. Currently, I'm renting a studio apartment for about $100 a week. I've seen comparable priced places going as far as a 2 bedroom with the same price point, $400 or $500 a month. The same kind of place in San Diego, 2 blocks away, would cost you upwards of $1,500 to $2,000 or $3,000. To go to work, I cross the border in the morning. A few times a week, I do Amazon flex shifts, and in about 2 full-time days, I pay my rent for the month. The thing is, I don't go every day because it's kind of a headache. So while I technically earn less, I have a greater purchasing power effectively. So 5 months ago, basically, I moved to Tijuana and went from being full-time employed with 2 jobs, living in my van for years because I couldn't save the deposit, to having an apartment and having transportation and a pretty decent paying job relative to my cost of living. But isn't it dangerous? Isn't it unsafe? A little bit, it can be. But Literally, as I'm saying that, the police roll by. There's constantly a presence, so it does feel a little bit safe for that reason. Living in your car is not safe either. Being in your car is you're harassed all the time. You're bothered by strangers trying to steal your stuff. That's not a good life either. So while it's not a perfect solution, it's a solution for now, and it works, and I've improved my quality of life by moving 2 blocks. Follow for more about the cost of living in Mexico.
I'm just gonna tell you a simple fact that you already guys know. Whenever you want to see an economy that is struggling nowadays, when you look at it, whenever you see OnlyFans girl make an unfathomable amount of money that even a teacher in her whole career would never ever dream of getting. Whole career. Not even per year or whatever. A whole career compared to the top OnlyFans girl. What they make per month. The teacher will never get it. And who is more important to the society? The teacher or the OnlyFans girl? This is nuts, guys. This is nuts. And those OnlyFans girls, they're not getting all that money from rich people. They're getting those money from average guy. So at the same time, who are we supposed to cherish or supposed to put forward or supposed to support or supposed to very, very much pay attention or help or whatever? Those are teachers, because without them, bro, we're nothing as a society. Imagine, bro. Just imagine. This is nuts, bro. This is absolutely crazy, in my opinion. Teachers should be making way more money than even an engineer. Because to be an engineer, you need to be teach. Especially teacher in high school or in kindergarten or in college. They need to make way more money. It need to be promoted so that more people would do that. But now, bro, now it's cook. Now it's absolutely cook. Just a girl take off her clothes and then she make shit ton of money. You know what I'm saying? Crazy, crazy amount of money. This is my opinion, y'all. I don't know about you guys, but this is my opinion. Whenever you want to see how crazy we have become, when you see an OnlyFans girl make that much money and a teacher, an engineer, don't make that. This is nuts.
Well, I had an eye-opening experience with my son this weekend. So my son graduated from college 6 months ago. And when he graduated, he was going to move back in with us so that he could find a job here in this local area and save up enough money to move out on his own. Had no problem with that. So it's been about 6 months. He has saved almost every single dime. He works a 40-hour-a-week job. Makes $40,000 a year, which back in my day was sustainable to be able to live. Apparently that's not the case anymore. You can't live on $40,000, which makes no sense to me. So we were looking online at Zillow, Google to find apartments and houses within his budget, a house to rent because he has a dog. So we said, let's write them all down and let's go check them out, because pictures don't tell you what's really going on, y'all. So we drove around to some of these, and I can't even tell you, some of them I didn't even feel comfortable driving down the street. They were in really, really shady parts of town. Looked like a war zone. The whole house looked like it was off kilter. A lot of work to be, it just looked like it should be uninhabitable. Don't rent this. It should just be tore down, right? And then when we went to apartments, these apartments that were within his price range, and when I say price range, they were still going for $800 a month. These $800 a month apartments, I didn't feel comfortable with him living in these apartments. When I say those two look like they should have just been torn the hell down, they should have been. The only ones that are decent, he found a studio apartment that's in a nice neighborhood, $1,400 for 485 square feet. That is more than my mortgage, right? And then regular apartments, not even glamorous apartments, just 1-bedroom apartment that has normal square footage is anywhere from $1,300 to $1,700. We live in Montgomery, Alabama. We're not in a big metropolitan area. I don't understand how the housing market has gotten so donkey. Okay. And everybody says, well, then he should just buy a house since it's cheaper, mortgage is less than rent. Well, nobody will give him a mortgage loan because he has no credit. Not that he has bad credit. He has no credit. He didn't want to get into debt. So he doesn't have any credit to show for it. So it's a lose-lose situation. I don't know how they're living. I don't know if he can move out right now, because I personally don't feel comfortable with the places he can afford moving to. And he can't afford the normal standard shit that I would have afforded back when. How are people doing this, and how do we expect our young kids, or, I mean, he's not young, he's 25, but how do we expect our youth to get ahead? I mean, really.
This is crazy, y'all. And we all know that like rent is the most expensive things that you have to spend money on every single month. You see what I'm saying? And nowadays, like rent for like an average apartment, very good apartment is like $1,200. $1,200. 1,200. Damn, bro. This is crazy. This is like too much. And for whoever's making like $30,000 or $40,000 a year, you need not one jobs, two or maybe three jobs to pay down everything and have some money left, maybe to like save or invest for your future, for your own future, because like nobody is going to save you, bro. Like, to be honest. And for anyone who has like a family where they can like move in and stay a little bit, because that would be very very helpful. Like, imagine you have like a family, you can move in, stay there for like, I don't know, 5 years. In the meantime, you work two three jobs, saved up, and then whenever you get ready, you can then move out and, you know what I'm saying, like stop paying your mortgage to at least have a house. You see what I'm saying? Because your mother house is not for you, it's for your mother. And when she's gonna get old, when she's gonna go into the the nursery room for like old people, then she will need some sort of like income, because those house for old people, they are not free. So she will need income, and that income will come from maybe selling the house and then use that money to pay for her retirement. You see what I'm saying? Because like hoping that you will stay at your mom place forever, that's not a good idea, and nobody should be looking for it. Like, at some point you will have to like move out, pay your own mortgage and also and so on and so forth. But like, bro, it's rough out here, bro. It's rough. Let me know what you think down below, guys.
And if you ain't been unemployed in the last 4 to 5 years, shut up. From the bottom of my heart, shut up. You don't know how it is out here. I seen people with master's degrees get humbled. I seen people with 10 plus years experience get humbled. I seen folks who went from making $100,000 to selling for a $40,000 a year job because they got humbled in this job market. If you ain't been job hunting in the last 4 to 5 years, shut up. Telling these folks they ain't trying hard enough. You ain't even applied to a ghost job yet. Let me inform you, there are companies posting tons and tons and tons of positions and not even hiring. You don't know what your grandson going through. Shut up. Ain't nobody listening to you. Shut up.
I need to have a vent session for a second about the state of affairs in this country. So I have two adult children. One is 18 going on 19 and the other one is 21. My 18-year-old is working currently as an HVAC apprentice and working on getting certified, but he's making $16 an hour, which I live in a like small to mid-sized Missouri town, so that's pretty typical around here. Wages are, low compared to a lot of places, but so is the cost of living. But he would also not like to be living at home with mom forever. He's more of like an independent, autonomous person, so apartment living is not for him at all. He wants a place where he can have his truck and his dirt bikes and be able to work on motors and have the freedom to do what he wants with the place and also be able to have all of his stuff. And at this point, honestly, renting a house would cost more than a mortgage payment anyway, but he's been looking for houses and just trying to figure out what he can afford and what he can do. And like, he found this place that was only $125,000, which is like dirt cheap around here. Like, that just doesn't exist anymore, but it had no basement. It was on like a slab foundation, I think, and probably needed some work, which he is naturally talented at that stuff. Like, he works in HVAC, he's very mechanically inclined, like he can do this stuff, so he's not afraid of a fixer-upper. Found out that the main reason it was priced so cheap is because it was in a flood zone, so it was a no anyway. But keep in mind, $125,000 house in this economy, and when we looked up to see like if he did like a 5% down payment on this thing with, your insurance and PMI and taxes and everything, his payment would still be $1,100 a month for a like cheap piece of crap house. And just the look of absolute dread on his face when he realized how completely unaffordable and unattainable it is for him to be able to buy a house and live on his own. Now, my oldest son just turned 21. He's been waiting to turn 21 because he wants to get into the cannabis industry. And it's just like the alcohol industry, where if you want to be like a brewer or a bartender, you have to be 21 in order to do it. So this past week, Thursday, he interviewed for a job with a grower. And just a couple of days ago, he was offered the position and officially accepted it. And in that time, less than a week, we decided to start a war with Iran. And so when he interviewed for the job, gas prices were around $2.50 a gallon where I'm at, and now they are already at $3 a gallon and climbing. So just in the time between when he interviewed for this job and when he accepted this job, gas prices have gone up 50 cents a gallon, and they're not done climbing yet. And this is an issue because this job, there's a lot of dispensaries here in town where if he had, ended up there, he'd probably be a little bit better off. But this was the job opening that was available at the time for him to get into the industry. And it is a farm, which is 30 miles up the interstate from where we live. So now he is going to be driving one way to work 30 miles at a time when gas prices are going through the roof, because we decided it was a good idea to start a completely unwarranted, unjustified, and unnecessary war with Iran. And I'm now sitting here thinking about my own situation, where my own currently hourly wage is, and considering if I was their age, if I was just starting out. So thinking about buying the same house that I live in right now at its current value, at current interest rates, with the same % down payment that I paid for this house back in 2017. And I realized that my payment would be double what it currently is. And I, as a 40-year-old woman who has been working for 24 years of my life, could not afford this place on my own. Like at 40 years old, I would need a roommate in order to live in this very modest, like 1,300 square foot, 1968 ranch style home. Like it's not a fancy house by any stretch. It's what most people would consider to be essentially a starter home by today's standards. And I could not afford it on my own on my current wages. So my question is, how the hell are we expecting these young kids to do it? Like for someone to start out, even in my area, in like rural Missouri, they would have to make $30 an hour in order to be earning a living wage, in order to live on their own and support themselves without the help of a spouse or a roommate, just for a single person to live and make it on their own, to be able to afford a vehicle payment, vehicle insurance, a mortgage or rent payment, and all of the utilities and groceries and cell phone bills and stuff that go along with just living your life. That's no fun stuff. It's just to live. They would need to make $30 an hour. Meanwhile, we have a government that is more interested in starting wars and harassing other countries and harassing immigrants that are living in this country than they are with their own people, than they are with helping the working class in any way, shape, or form with any kind of meaningful legislation or reform. We have a do-nothing Congress that is sitting on their hands and doing absolutely nothing to help any of the working class people. I'm mad about it for myself, but I'm even more mad about it for my children. Something needs to change. Something's got to give. And frankly, at the midterms, it would be great if the Democrats are able to take over, because at least they'll do something to stop the nonsense that is happening in the executive branch that is going on unchecked. But are they going to do anything to actually help the working class people? At the end of the day, even the Democrats are doing the absolute bare minimum to be able to claim that they are for the working class, because they, right along with the Republicans, are taking money from wealthy campaign donors, and any policy, any legislation that they pass ultimately is going to help them and not us. So where does this end? How far does this go before we, the people, cannot afford to live no matter what age we are?
Congratulations on paying off your house.
Thank you. I finally own my home.
I love that for you. Now pay property taxes.
Wait. For what?
For owning the home.
But I already paid for the home.
Yes, that was for the structure.
And the land?
That's rented.
For who?
Us.
For how long?
Forever.
And if I stop paying?
We take the house.
But I bought it.
Correct. And now you maintain it for us.
So this is renting?
No, this is home ownership.
So what did I actually buy?
A lifetime subscription with surprise price increases.
And what do I get with that?
The privilege of not being evicted this year.
Love it. 5 stars.
The minimum wage in America would need to be $66 an hour to have the same buying power that the dollar had back in the 80s. You're lucky if you could go on Indeed anymore and find a job that offers more than $18 and $19 an hour. People are out here kicking into the towel, not seeing the point in doing this anymore, because they realize that there's no point and they've been scammed out of their life, and they realize that their time is more valuable than money. Some of us don't want to wait until retirement age, until our bodies and our spirits are too old and broken down to even enjoy life, just to look back and see all we did the last 45 years of our lives was clocked in and went to work. Money isn't even everything anymore, yet they have all of us brainwashed into believing chasing that next dollar is more important than caring for each other. You're out here spending your entire life trying to make money that you can't even keep because after you pay all your bills and shit, it's all gone. And once you realize all of this is a scam, that's when the true freedom comes in.